And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as the Flatout Racing Network presents the season finale of Season 59, the Talladega Challenge Series here under the Rolling Thunder Gaming banner. I'm Seth Cole, soon to be joined by Michael Norman. 15 races during the course of this season, 9 drivers found victory lane, 4 drivers remain for the championship, and here in this one race, we will determine who is going to be hoisting that championship trophy. For the other drivers in the field, they're looking to end off the season with a checkered flag. For some of them, looking for their first. For about a half dozen, they're looking for their second. And for a couple of others, they're looking for their third. And for 2 of them, their fourth checkered flag on the season as we prepare for the final 66 laps of Season 59. This is a place where it all started, Talladega Superspeedway, about 14 weeks ago. And now we are ready to find out what the final destination is going to be at the end of this long, long road. 4 drivers, Grant Wesley, Jeremy Jeffries, Bob Seminara, and Brian Schilling, went into Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway last week in what was a 2-race final round. Grant Wesley went to victory lane. Subsequently, he comes into this race as the points leader. He will look to keep the other 3 at bay to clinch what would be not only his second straight championship, but third championship in the last 4 seasons. Jeremy Jeffries sits second in the point standings, 9 points out. He's going to need to finish at least 10 positions ahead of Grant Wesley. Bob Seminara is third in points. He is 11 points out. He would have to finish about 12 positions ahead of Wesley and 3 positions ahead of Jeremy Jeffries to take the championship, and then hit some hard luck in the closing stages of last week's race at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Brian Schilling, who went to victory lane, won the championship, I should say, 2 seasons ago. He suffered a very poor finish last week. He is 28 points out of the points lead coming into tonight. It's almost a must-win situation for the driver of the 4. He's going to need a little bit of help here tonight to be able to see if he can get his second championship in 3 seasons. But Grant Wesley, via the random qualifying, gets the pole position here tonight. And that is going to be huge.
I think it's rigged.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I mean, random qualifying has done some really strange things in the past.
It has, and to be honest, Seth, we've seen him start from the rear and get up to the front, so it should be interesting to see him start from the front and try to stay there.
Absolutely. Let's give you the starting lineup for tonight's event.
Oh, you don't actually need me to do it this time?
No, I got it this time. But we've got 30 drivers that are taking the green flag here this evening, as Wesley and Mark Paglia going to be the front row this evening. Chuck McClure and Jeff Crivello, they're in row number 2. Row 3 finds Milt Surratt and Greg Palmer. Row 4, Richard Martin and Ken Roberts. And then Rodney Sullins and another of our final 4 contenders, Jeremy Jeffries, going to complete the top 10. And 11th will be Bernie Mobbs, 12th Bob Dixon, row number 7 will be Jessica Shelton and Glenn Harris, row 8 finds Brian Rawson and Dave Melson, Donnie Garrett, Terry Bombard back in row 9, and then Bob Seminara, another of our final 4, going to be starting all the way back in the 19th position, Brian Schilling, the 4th of those final 4 drivers, to his outside in 20th. 21st will find Joe DeSpirito, Cy Jones in 22nd place. Row 12 will be Josh Metallic and Kelly Causey. Row 13, Tim Nofsker and Ron Hagelin. Row 14, Jim Gloud and JT Mayhew. And in the final row of this 30-truck field tonight, Robbie Nisus and Mike Rogers. Michael, we heard from Grant Wesley last week. He wanted to get the max points he possibly can, even if he didn't get the victory, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. He wanted to finish up at the front so that way he could come into this race and play defense. If we go back about 48 hours to the Super Speedway Series finale, Rodney Sullins was in the same kind of predicament where he was able to just keep an eye on where the rest of his competition was, stay in the same vicinity, play defense. Is it the same? Is it more difficult here tonight for Grant to be able to play defense, or is it about the same scenario that we saw out of Sullins on Tuesday night?
Well, I think it's going to be about the same scenario. I was not present if you went over at the points gap between the drivers here, so I did not hear what the actual gap is. So it should be very interesting, and the question's going to be is will Grant still have his racing friends out there, or is everyone going to try to be for themselves and leave him out to dry as the green flag comes out, gets a good start, going to stay right on the bottom lane here, but we'll see how he moves up to the outside lane as at Talladega we all know that middle lane is the preferred lane or one of the fastest lanes here.
You mentioned it last week at Bird Screwdrivers Raceway. Grant Wesley had about 2 or 3 drivers that were pretty committed to staying behind him and helping him pick up that victory, get the early start here in this final round of the playoffs. And we even heard from Grant last night at the conclusion of the Aero 88 Series race where he said, I'm hoping to repay the favor and maybe be able to push one of them to victory here tonight and also wrap up the championship with a good finish as top 4, top 5 get themselves clear on that inside line. Jeff Crivello now the driver up there on the top trying to lead that secondary lane. And we did go over the points gap coming in tonight, but we'll reiterate it one more time. Wesley, obviously the points leader with the victory last week. Jeremy Jeffries 9 points back in second. Bob Seminara 11 points back in third. And then Brian Schilling, 28 points back in the 4th position. 3 of the 4 drivers in the Final 4, former champions of the series. Jeremy Jeffries, the only one that is yet to win a championship here in the Tally Challenge.
Well, it's safe to say that Grant can't finish any worse than the top 10 with that kind of points gap here, even if he leads a lap. So he's got to finish top 10 or better.
Right. It's not a win and you're in type scenario here in this final round. Otherwise, Grant Wesley would have wrapped up the championship last week. And Grant, being the benefit of getting the pole, was almost guaranteed that he was going to lead at least the first lap and get that bonus point. So that's something else.
Nothing is ever guaranteed at Talladega.
That is true. But, I mean, this now means that, for Jeffrey, Seminara, and Schilling, I don't know if there's a sense of urgency for it, but you probably want to at least get up here and lead a lap yourself, right? Counter that bonus point that Wesley has in the bank?
Yeah, absolutely. And Seth, you know what time it is? Time to crack open a cold one.
What's the beverage of choice tonight?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. I'm currently on a Lipton iced tea lemonade half and half. That's a Pepsi product, I think. Not sure. I think Pepsi owns Lipton.
I can confirm that they do.
Thought so.
Is working at a pizza place. We sell brisk tea and we do sell a little bit of Lipton stuff as well.
Ah, that's right. I forgot Pizza Hut deals in the Pepsi products. 3 wide. It's like Jeff Crivello, who was leading that second lane. They've stuck him in the middle. Greg Palmer now jumps up to the 3rd lane along with Ken Roberts, Dave Melson, Jeremy Jeffries there as well, Donnie Garrett. Right now alongside of Tim Nofsker is Greg Palmer. That would be for the, I believe, 11th or 12th position. Scoring has him in 9th, the 22, that last time by. Another battle that we got to keep an eye on here tonight as well. I think we were a little remiss in bringing it up last week, but Jeremy Jeffries ended up winning the bracket series on the winner's side. Joe DeSpirito ended up winning the bracket series on the loser's side, so those two faced off against each other in the final. And since the loser side winner, Joe DeSpirito, ended up beating Jeremy Jeffries last week, it went into a rubber match here tonight. So keep an eye on the 1 and the 24, because at the end of tonight's race, one of them is going to be the Tally Challenge Bracket Series champion.
So it's exciting for her to have a race within a race.
And they do that a lot here in RTG. We ended up having, what was it, 3? No, we had, yeah, it was 3 champions last night, right? In the Aero 88 series, we had the overall winner, we had the Eliminator champion, and we had the Challenger champion.
Yep.
Well, I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, opportunity tonight for somebody to end out the season with a checkered flag. For a lot of the drivers in the field, they're looking for their first checkered flag on the season. And look at some of these guys we've got up here inside of our top 10. Richard Martin in the 43, currently third. Mark Paglia, he's had a rough stretch this season. I think I recall at least 2 times that 28 has been up and over here in season 59. He's got a shot of finding victory lane. Ken Roberts there in the 55, former winner in the series from a few seasons ago. He's there. 4th truck on the outside line. And Glenn Harris in the 8. He was in the 6th position, now kind of fading back there to around 9th or 10th. 5th truck on that inside line, but he's got a shot at a victory here tonight as well. Rodney Sullins up there on the outside line. He's going to go to the lead. Rodney Sullins, former winner this season, but unfortunately, we end up having to show his victory via a recap. We weren't here to be able to broadcast the race, so he's trying to see if he can get up here and win a Tally Challenge race live on FRN.
All these drivers switching from the bottom to the top lane here. We've told you that that top lane is going to be the preferred lane here as they go by here. And Seth, this is the one race where we actually do know the pit strat, how long these
the
trucks
fuel
go
window,
on
yeah,
the fuel window.
This time we've got the info.
Yep. So, what's the ideal pit strategy here if this race were to go caution free?
Race to go caution free? Oh gosh.
3 stops, I believe.
Yeah, it is. It is 3 stops.
3 stops. Yep. Your first 2, you're taking everything and full fuel. That's that last stop, though. If we do it under green, all you would need is what? Maybe a can and maybe no tires?
Trying to quickly do the math in my head. Yeah, you'd only need a can because you'd probably...
Your brain is smoking.
If you stretched it as far as you possibly could go with 19-lap intervals, you'd be pitting with 9 laps remaining. So yeah, you'd only need to take on a can of fuel.
Yep.
Now, I was interested there when we saw that outside line forming. A couple of trucks that were up there included Jeremy Jeffries and Bob Seminara, who are trying to get that championship from Grant Wesley. As soon as Jeremy Jeffries cleared the 88, he jumped down to the bottom, and it's not exactly worked out for him. Seminara stayed up in that middle groove, and he's been able to work his way now to the 6th position. So a little surprised that Jeremy didn't stay up there in that second line as well, because he can finish 1 position ahead of Grant Wesley. That's great on the finishing results, but he needs to make up another 8 points on top of that to be able to get the championship here tonight.
Oh yeah, like I said, these guys have got to shuffle Grant out and keep him in the back, not let him go forward.
But that's kind of the catch-22, right? Because the Final 4 are in the Final 4 because they're fast. They're smart at super speedway racing, so as a racer, your first inkling is, I want to work with them because it's probably going to benefit me as well. At the same time, though, yeah, you can't work with them because you're all fighting for the same goal, and that's to get the championship here in the Season 59 Tally Challenges. Had some fast trucks that started diving down to that inside line. Chuck McClure went down there. 2-time winner on the season, Kelly Causey, went down there, but they're not making up any ground right now. 00 is side by side with JT Mayhew in the 338. That's around the 7th position. Top 6 single file in the middle groove. Josh Metallic in the 39. 2nd place right now. Looking for his first victory on the season. Former champion of the series. Tim Nofska right behind him. Been a spell since he went to victory lane early on this season. Ken Roberts, former playoff contender. When he went to victory lane, I believe it was 4 seasons ago, if I recall correctly. And then Donnie Garrett, who ended up missing a couple of races during the regular season, but was consistent enough in the races that he took part in that he made his way into the playoffs. Unfortunately, he didn't advance into the round of 8. But Donnie is still looking for his first victory on the season as well. And I mentioned about the fact that the random qualifying brings about some very interesting scenarios. We already documented about points leader Grant Wesley getting the pole here tonight. Well, Donnie Garrett, a couple of seasons ago, joined me up here in the FRN booth in the season finale. And that was the one race, the only race of the season, where the random qualifying draw gave him the pole. And he wasn't able to take part in it. So he's in the finale here tonight and trying to see if he can find victory lane in that Astroglide Chevy Silverado.
And anything's possible here as long as he stays in contention.
Well, Bob Seminara and Brian Schilling, they started back in row 10 alongside each other in 19th and 20th. Seminara has worked his way up now to 6th. And right behind him is Brian Schilling in the 7th position. You touched on it earlier. We've seen a lot of these drivers. It doesn't look so good for them, at least at the start, based off their qualifying position, but they know how to quickly move their way up through the field and put themselves up inside of the top 10, top 5. We've seen them do it sometimes within 6-7 laps.
Single file here. It's about how you want to run as they're coming up on the first round of green flag pit stops here. You know, and Seth, as a racing driver, you know, explain to the audience, to kind of, you know, it's safe kind of to do this, you know, in a round, but just how frustrating does it get kind of just riding in a single line?
Well, it's not as much frustrating as it makes you nervous, because this may not make much sense to people, but it actually is easier to race double wide and 3 wide at a super speedway, because usually in that type of a scenario, everybody is aware of the situation and they give quite a bit of space. When you're single file like this, just to take those front 4 there as an example, Metallic gets right to the back bumper of Rodney Sullins as they enter into turn 3. In turn, Nofsker is right on the back of Metallic and Roberts is right on the back of Nofsker. There's got to be communication in feathering the throttle, making sure that a bump is not going to be too late going into turn 3, or else you end up with what we call the dreaded chain bumping, the chain reaction bumping, and that happens more often than not when there's single file racing. We've seen it a couple of times here in this series, right up at the front of the field, and it's had catastrophic results going into a corner, whether it be into 1 or into 3. So I honestly feel you have to be a little bit more disciplined when you're single file, more so than when you're double file.
I completely agree.
Start to see a couple of drivers migrating their way down to that inside line.
Yep,
Next time by will be at completion of 16, so about 3-4 laps outside of when they're going to have to start making that first round of green flag pit stops. And Michael, we've seen during the course of this season, pit road has definitely played its factor into the outcome of races. So with a championship on the line and 26 other drivers aside from our championship 4 trying to get onto pit road, not necessarily do the final 4 have control of their own destiny here.
Oh no, they could easily be taken out by another car, going too hot on the pit road as these cars are coming up on Robbie Nisus in that 54 truck. He lost the pack. He lost the Jeff really early. We already have one retiree out of the race, Seth. I don't know if we've touched on that yet.
Has not showed up on my scoring yet. Now it just did. Mike Rogers. Yep, just now popped up with the retired in his status column.
Well, you talked about racing side by side. These guys quickly went from single file to side by side racing.
Well, I think a reason for that, I think the trucks on the outside line, they're planning on going an extra lap. The drivers down the inside line are going to be some of the first ones onto pit road. Seeing the 4 and the 17, at least on my end, with a little side to side. Not sure if you're seeing that or if that's just...
If it is, I haven't noticed. All right, I got some radios lighting up here. The 31, the 43, the 7, the 72 looks like all coming down pit road this time.
It's a couple of drivers that are free drivers that are actually towards the back of the pack. I think the highest of them, Richard Martin, in the 15th position. And here comes one of our front runners. That's Donnie Garrett.
Here comes a lot of our front runners.
Bob Seminara is in. Ooh, Jim Glaude.
Glaude is out into the grass. He might have made it on past that little commitment line, so he might be okay.
You don't get the 30-second penalty if you've already crossed the line and go out in the
Bob,
grass, but if you
Bob
swing to the
Dixon,
right
Ron
side,
Hagelin. Yeah, say Bob Dixon, Ron Hagelin, and Brian Rawson have all pit already as they're going to be lapped by Metallic.
I believe I saw, no, that wasn't Chuck McClure. Thought I saw Chuck McClure on pit road. That was Joe DeSpirito, I'm sorry. That was also on pit lane that lap.
Well, we'll see if there's any more coming in this time by. We'll see if they're staying out now.
We had, I believe, 7 drivers on pit road for that first go-round, and
Here we
here
go.
comes just about everybody else.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Wow.
Somebody missed it. Somebody completely missed it. Oh, Jeremy Jeffries just turned somebody out.
That was Glenn Harris, he
There's
spun.
a lot going on right here.
Crivello missed. Paglia might have missed.
Yeah, no, Crivello missed. And I think Mark Paglia might have gotten bumped out, so they might get that penalty. Glenn Harris and Kelly Causey spun at the very entrance of pit road there. So I don't think any of our championship drivers are in trouble here.
Well,
but
here's the one thing that I would bring up as a possibility. Pit road incidents, while they don't necessarily bring out a caution, they are deemed something that you have to take responsibility for. And I believe you said Jeremy Jeffries was the one that tagged the 8, one of our final 4. It'd be interesting to see if he might have to come down and serve a penalty or not.
the wrong button. Let's see. I'm gonna try to see if he's the one that spun. I think he might. Let's see. Yeah, he turned sideways a little bit on entry, and I think he just caused somebody to. He might have caused Paglia to miss the entrance on pit road. I don't think he didn't. I don't think he wrecked somebody per se. Yeah, he got sideways, and the 28 didn't spin, so I don't know if they would count that as still an incident. Still an incident or not. So
keep you updated on that. Oh, Tim Nofsker. Looks like the 088 might have gotten tagged for speeding as he is back down pit road. Brian Rawson in the 21 has been issued a black flag for speeding on pit road. There's JT Mayhew, who led the last lap. He's now going to get swung around by Josh Metallic and company for what will be the race lead.
Ronnie Garrett leading up back to the very outside line.
He's got D-Mar with him, Bob Seminara, Joe DeSpirito. Remember, this is the group of 4 that came to pit road, the first pack onto pit road, so they are a little bit more up to speed, a little bit more organized, and going to use that momentum to try and propel Garrett to the front. Inside line, it's 4 versus 4. Metallic's got Sullins, Schilling, and Wesley. Looks like Shelton might be the deciding voice in which line's going to move. Brian Rawson has come down and served his pass-through penalty. "29 drivers still running after the completion of our first cycle of green flag pit stops, 28 of them on the lead lap, but you hear that engine up ahead. I believe that is the 21 of Rawson, as well as the 8 of Glenn Harris, who spun on the entry of pit road. They are in danger of being swallowed up by the lead pack and being put a lap down. Then you got about, I believe, half the racetrack before you get to the next truck of Tim Nofsker. This second pack is barreling down the first pack, though. Chuck McClure in the 10th position. Mark Paglia, Dave Melson, Jeremy Jeffries. Here they are. They were single file, catching the double file ahead of them. Big head of steam. And McClure's going to take it all the way down to the inside line. Take it 3 wide with about 2-3 rows down the back straightaway.
3 wide. This is where they got to be careful. And the 88's right in the hornet's nest.
And look, they are closing in on the 21 and the 8 as well in a 3 wide formation. Depending on where the encounter is, it could be very dicey.
If I was Grant, I would back out of that right now.
He's going to tuck up in front of Shelton, right behind DeSpirito.
Even being on the very outside lane, if these cars wreck, they go up before they go down.
Well, that's true. But at the same time, I don't know if there's necessarily a predictable lane in the corners here at Talladega, because we've seen drivers that look like they might be in a prime position down there on the inside, and just the slightest angle of contact sends somebody down into you.
Yeah, but I'd rather get hit from somebody above me than below me.
That is a good point. Yeah, because then you're going up to the wall rather than maybe spinning the infield grass. That's a good call. Oh, looks like there's another truck that has been reeled in. That's Jeff Crivello in the 56.
Boy. Oh, and they're in there. There's 3 wide.
I think they were 4 for a brief moment there.
Oh, they still are.
Oh, boy.
Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it.
I think
they're giving room.
Crivello's trying to back out and get behind the 21 to let the leaders on by, and finally he is able to do so.
That was very, very dicey.
They make it through, though. No harm, no foul. Now it's going to be a 3-way battle back there between the 8, the 21, and the 56 for
the next person
first 2 cars 1 lap down.
And look at the next person they're going to catch.
Yep, Nofsker in the 088. Just to give you an idea, folks, of the difference of speed of a pack of trucks versus 1 truck, when we mentioned about Tim Nofsker being half a racetrack ahead of the leaders, he was only 23 seconds back. He is now 40 seconds back. Lost 17 seconds in the span of about 3 laps.
Well, let's put it this way. He's only running top speed of 180, 182. This guy's behind him, 197.
Yep.
That's a whole 15 miles per hour difference.
So we've got 4 drivers that are a lap down right now. In this series, top 2 one-lap down drivers get the lucky dog under caution periods.
This whole line is single file.
So let's take a look at 3rd through 5th. Schilling, Jeffries, Seminara need to finish ahead of Grant Wesley. Some need to finish a little bit further ahead than Wesley than others, but Grant right now is slotted into 11th. So while all 3 of these drivers are up inside of the top 5, none of them at this point in time are positioned to be ahead of Grant for the championship.
Grant's still racing pretty strong. Grant, like I said, they have to kick him out of the line. You have to go to like every person, and you have to literally tell them, hey, let's knock him out of line and keep him back there. That's the only way I think anyone's going to have a shot at beating Grant Wesley.
What we saw last week, a few non-playoff contenders were willing to stick with the 88 in the closing stages. So he's got allies. Question is, does he have more allies than enemies here tonight in the field? Is Nofsker going to go a lap down? I was noticing a couple of drivers that round of green flag pit stops really benefited them, gained them some good track position. Dave Melson, the 038, now up to 9th, and Bob Dixon up there in the 10th position in that 143. So good job by both of those drivers. Both looking for their first wins on the season here in the Tally Challenge, and that battle for the lucky dog positions at the very tail end of this pack is going to be very interesting. You got Nofsker, Harris, Rawson, and Crivello literally all nose to tail. If a caution flies, only 2 of them can get the lucky dogs. The other 2 would have to wait until later on in this race for maybe another later yellow flag.
These drivers all in this lead pack are running roughly single file.
So as we are about maybe 9-10 laps away from when they'll have to start considering coming back to pit road once again. We've got 1 round of green flag pit stops under our belt. Josh Metallic out in front showing the way, nearing halfway here tonight in the season finale. We're going to step aside. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but you're not going to miss a bit of the action. If trouble breaks out, we'll break in, but we're going to take you FRN side by side.
You stole that line.
The following presentation of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series on the Flatout Racing Network is brought to you by Ultimate Garage Floors. Ultimate Garage Floors is very active in the garage remodeling community, staying current with the latest technologies and custom configurations so that we can bring you the highest quality installations. As a Northern Virginia Exposy flooring installer, we focus on garages and commercial flooring to perfect our craft and bring you high results. In a space that gets as much wear and tear as your garage, you want to be able to trust that the cabinets and flooring we install are ready to withstand against high traffic and regular use. That is why we include a lifetime warranty with our services, so that you know we stand behind the quality of our work. To get started with a free consultation, call us at 540-931-9006 or visit us on the web at ultimategaragefloorsva.net. That's ultimategaragefloorsva.net. We welcome you back to Talladega Super Speedway, the season finale, season 59 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge. 4 drivers looking to get the championship here tonight, as Josh Metallic continues to show the way, about to complete his 15th lap out in front. Nearing halfway so far, clean and green, no cautions. We were single file when we went to the commercial break, Michael, but now inside line starting to form. We had a couple of peakers there about 2-3 laps ago. Now we got some that are pretty committed to that yellow line.
Dr. Peaker?
Dr. Peaker. That's Seminara down on the bottom. Brian Schilling, Ronnie Sullins moved down low. That'll be Sullins looking for the lead now on Metallic. Chuck McClure, Joe DeSpirito, Grant Wesley's down there as well. These drivers, for the most part, I believe, moving down to that inside line in preparation for the upcoming second round of green flag pit stops, which 2 drivers got hit with speeding penalties under the first round. We had a couple of drivers get sent wide into the grass, but I believe they made the commitment line. 1 driver got spun getting onto pit road. As a result, we've got 5 drivers a lap down out of the 29 drivers still running. Only 1 retiree, that being Mike Rogers. Well, we saw a smaller pack of about 6 come to pit road first. I think it's safe to assume they may be the ones we'll see on pit road first again. Seminara, DeSpirito, Donnie Garrett, I remember, were a part of that, along with Richard Martin. That second group we saw come to pit road, though, Michael, was a lot bigger, and 3 of our championship 4 were in that. So they dodged bullet number 1, now they got to dodge bullet number 2.
Yep. The problem is, again, it's the way these cars come down pit road. You know, they can't do it the normal way. They got to do it the hot pit style way, and it nabbed a couple of drivers to get that black flag. So hopefully they learn their lesson this time.
Should be in the next 3 or so laps, I think, that we'll start to see radios lighting up and drivers hitting pit road. We're keeping track of the championship battles. Right now, Grant Wesley still firmly in control of the championship. Jeremy Jeffries, Bob Seminara, and Brian Schilling have all made gains during the course of this race, but they've not been able to put a big enough gap between themselves and the 88. Last time by, Grant was scored in 9th, Schilling in 2nd, Jeffries in 8th, and Seminara in 3rd. And you touched on it, Michael. As long as Grant finishes up inside the top 10 here tonight, he's pretty much got this championship locked up. There's no bonus points awarded to a driver for winning the race. The only bonus points that are handed out are a bonus point for leading the lap and a bonus point for leading the most laps. And right now, the battle for most laps led is between two non-playoff contenders, two non-Final Four drivers, I should say. Rodney Sullivan's about to lead his 13th lap, 2 laps short of Josh Metallic's race-high 15 laps led. And I believe the only driver of our Final Four that has led a lap tonight is Grant Wesley, who has led 6.
The first 6.
I think we got some radios lighting up, Michael. Don't know if it's any of our front runners. See about the 712. Is he coming to pit road? Yes, he is.
Oh, Donnie Garrett, really heavy car. Oh, and the small pack coming down this time, by.
Yeah, this is about the same pack that we saw first on pit road back around lap 19.
Rodney Sullins holding on to the lead now, in front of Brian Schilling.
Can expect to probably see most, if not all, of these drivers on pit road
There's Bob
this
Dixon.
next time around. Saw some of those stragglers as we cycled through the field there. Jim Glaude, Greg Palmer had lost the lead pack. JT Mayhew, Milt Surratt, Kelly Causey, Ron Hagelin. That's about a half dozen drivers hoping for a yellow. As Hagelin slow coming to pit road right in front of this pack, and a couple of them missed, including Jeremy Jeffries and Josh Metallic. Shelton's getting into Paglia. They spin on pit road. Crivello is up and over. He just flipped on pit lane. Terry Bombard was in that as well.
All that because of Ron Hagelin trying to come to pit road.
Right in front of the leaders. He was about to go a lap down.
I think he had a penalty he had to serve because it didn't look like he's stopping in a pit stall.
There's the 111 leaving pit lane. But I think that's a 30-second penalty for the one truck, because I'm pretty sure he missed pit road. Grant Wesley down and away.
Ron Hagelin just came straight through pit road, so I have no idea what that was all about. He could have at least waited another lap.
Looking for the 1. There's Jeremy Jeffries, and yeah, his service would have been done by now. He's been hit with a 30-second penalty. I think Josh Metallic also missed pit road entry. So Metallic, who up until this point had led the most laps, and Jeremy Jeffries, who was the closest of the 3 competitors to Grant Wesley coming into tonight, 9 points shy of Wesley in the standings. I think the list of those hoping for a caution just doubled with all that went down there in that second round of pit stops.
Yep, and look at all these 3 wide cars right here.
Ooh, we almost were 4 wide for a brief moment. It's Demar going to go to the lead. Richard Martin with help from Ken Roberts and Donnie Garrett. And again, much like we saw back during the first round of green flag pit stops, that group of about 6 or 7 that were the first ones on pit lane got formed up, got more momentum, and they propelled to the front. Top 3 positions ahead of Sullins and Wesley, the top 5.
It'd be interesting now to see how this plays out the last 26 laps.
We'll wait until Richard Martin and company make their way around, and then we'll try and give you as good of a full field rundown as we possibly can, including the current position of your final 4 drivers. 3 of them are up in this lead pack.
Somebody was on pit road again. Right, Rawson.
So Martin crosses the line with the lead. Ken Roberts in second. Donnie Garrett third. Those 3 all looking for their first win on the season. Rodney Sullins in 4th, and Grant Wesley just doing what he needs to do here tonight, holding down that 5th position. Joe DeSpirito is 6th. Dave Melson 7th. 8th, Bob Seminara. 9th, Chuck McClure. And Brian Schilling, who is the last truck in this pack, is currently in the 10th spot. 11th place is about 10 seconds back in Bernie Mobbs. 12th is Bob Dixon, 13th Cy Jones, Terry Bombard, and Mark Paglia scored in 14th and 15th. Then
Ooh,
it's Shelton, Jeffries,
wow.
Metallic, Hagelin, and Palmer, the top 20.
I don't know if you saw that or not, but we just about had the leader get turned there. Second place, Ken Roberts tried to make a move to the outside, and Demar just immediately threw the block on it. And it looked like it was about to be a wreck up here at the front.
You brought up the scenario, Michael. I think maybe you had a crystal ball or something. I remember Scott, broadcast colleague of ours, got after me for using a crystal ball about this thing maybe going green all the way to the end. Now these drivers would have to strategize in terms of, in the closing stages, how much fuel they'd have to take on. That scenario is working out at this point in time. If we remain under green flag conditions, we can expect to see that final pit stop take place somewhere in the lap 56 to 57 range, in which they would only have to take on a can of fuel to be good till the end. But the field has split up quite a bit from even back during the conclusion of the first round of green flag pit stops.
Yep, and it's going to be hard with no caution to bunch them all back up. So Grant Wesley's just got to stay where he's at, and this is a runaway championship for him.
Yeah, Grant obviously having the benefit of a couple of things on his side here tonight with the green flag pit stops. Maybe one of the most aggressive drivers onto pit road. Makes up a lot of time, as we usually see after a pit stop cycle is complete. He usually increases, gets a net gain of 2 or 3 spots. And then also, with the random qualifying draw tonight giving him the pole, he got that #1 pit stall. So he really only has to worry about carefully making his way down pit road, and then as soon as he gets into his pit stall, it's just launch.
Yep.
Well, the penalty for Jeremy Jeffries, which now has him back in the 21st position, going to hurt him in a couple of ways. Of course, at this point in time, takes him out of the championship picture, but also, you see the 24 of Joe DeSpirito up here in this lead pack in 6th. If they finish where they are right now, Joe DeSpirito is the Season 59 Talladega Challenge Bracket Series winner, as those two went head-to-head here tonight in the season finale in the finals. "23 drivers on the lead lap right now. 29 drivers still running of the 30 that took the green flag. Tim Nofsker, Jeff Crivello currently hold the lucky dog positions, but there's a bunch of drivers, Michael, that I'm looking at our telemetry. They're only about maybe 8-10 seconds ahead of the leaders. Josh Metallic's in that pack, Ron Hagelin, Greg Palmer, JT Mayhew, Jeremy Jeffries, Jessica Shelton, Milt Surratt, and Cully Causey. So if this pack of about 8 or 9 end up catching them, that's going to muddy the waters in terms of battling it out for potentially those 2 lucky dog positions.
Just keeping an eye on the leader here, Richard Martin. It's this whole group keeping that single file. Exactly what they need to do here. May be a little boring to watch, but it's exactly what this lead pack needs to do. Especially when they get closer to, they got 20 laps to go this time by. So that puts them right in the fuel range. So it's going to be interesting, Seth. And like I said, with these cars split up as they are, I really can only see a mechanical failure, engine failure, bringing out a caution flag.
Yep, possibly. We've seen incidents in the past coming onto pit road, but as long as it's down below that yellow line, it's deemed off the racing surface. Now, we just showed you Josh Metallic leading that group of about 16th back to 21st. Metallic right now, because Sullins is running in 4th currently, still has the most laps led tonight in 15. Sullins right behind him with 14 laps led. Richard Martin's now climbed to 3rd most laps led tonight. He just led his 8th circuit. Grant Wesley has led 6. And then 2 laps led for JT Mayhew, 1 lap led by Chuck McClure. And that's your lap leaders tonight. Looks like only 6 drivers have been out in front here this evening. A big part of that is really because we have stayed under green. We haven't had all of the kind of pace shenanigans that we usually see, where a driver will stay out, lead a lap, then come to pit road under the 2nd lap or the 3rd lap of caution. It's pretty much been, if you get to the front, you're able to stay at the front for a pretty good stint until we end up getting to a cycle of green flag pit stops.
Yep, and then after that, it's whatever any mistakes you make on pit road is what's going to cost you time on the racetrack.
So it has looked like, for the most part, up until this point, everybody that has come to pit road the 2 times necessary so far, they've just taken on fuel, have not changed the tires. Tires don't wear very much here at Talladega, so you really don't have to worry about it unless you smoke those Goodyears trying to get onto pit road. Pretty safe to say, I would assume, there's going to be no tires up on the wall in this final pit stop, especially with the fact that you're only going to have to put in 1 can. I mean, I know you could maybe go with 2 tires, but you don't want to run the risk that you're going to have some kind of an issue on that pit stop and lose time. I believe there's a pack of 3 up ahead. Shelton, Kelly Causey, Milt Surratt that are going to be caught here within the next lap or 2. And you look up on the top left at our lap counter. We're about
Less than 20 to go.
Yeah, we're about 8 laps
17.
away, I would say, from that final pit stop.
Yep, about coming to 17 to go, and we're about 7 to 8 laps away from the final pit stop.
And I remember in the past when we've had races like this that have gone caution-free, I've brought out the scenario of, does somebody maybe elect to come to pit road as soon as the fuel window opens, and nobody has done it, which I understand because you'd spend more time on pit road taking on 2 cans of fuel than you would 1 can of fuel, so why would you do that?
Yeah, that would never cycle around.
No.
Right?
Plus the fact, too, with how spread out the field is now, there's not necessarily a guarantee that if you come to pit road, you're absolutely going to remain on the lead lap. So you'd end up maybe falling a lap down if you don't get a caution to save you. Then you kind of, hindsight's 20/20 of why did I do that. So now remember, too, for Richard Martin, I'm almost wondering if he might have to come to pit road 1 lap sooner than what we're projecting, because he came to pit road both times with the first pack that also included Donnie Garrett, Joe DeSpirito, and Bob Seminara. So they were the early birds onto pit lane, but Richard Martin has led the entirety of this green flag cycle. So he's burning a lot more fuel, which could put him even 1 lap shorter than those other drivers that he's pit with both times. So we might see the 43 on pit road maybe in the next 5 laps.
Yeah, and if he gets enough people to go with him, then you just take what you need to get you to the finish.
Well, he's been on pit road with at least 3 others in this pack. Well, actually, no, I believe Ken Roberts also was on pit road with that group. So yeah, 4 others in this pack that have been to pit road with him on both cycles of green flag pit stop. So I think it's safe to say if the 43 has to dive into pit road, you'll see Ken Roberts, Donnie Garrett, Joe DeSpirito, Bob Seminara down there with him as well. And at this point in time, you talked about the shuffle Grant Wesley out. Well, we've only got 10 lead lap trucks up in this lead pack now. Kind of unlikely you're going to be able to shake him out of this lead pack. So if you're a driver like Bob Seminara or Brian Schilling, who are currently up in this lead pack, I would assume that right now the only driver that can help you to be able to make up any ground for this championship against Grant Wesley is Grant Wesley. Hope that he makes a pit road mistake or maybe is too aggressive getting onto pit road on the upcoming final pit stop and gets a penalty or something.
Wow, suddenly back up here. These cars are getting a little bit racier up here.
Yeah, they caught up to the 20, 00, and 80 and elect to start to formulate a second lane. This could also be because the 24 and the 712 are going to be wanting to come to pit road with the top 3 on that inside line, and so they're trying to get themselves all lined up together.
We'll see how, though. That's going to be a real sketch.
Grant Wesley in that 88, he's currently, I think, at this point in time, just in ride mode. And I think, I might be wrong, but I think I just saw him throw in the clutch.
I don't think so. He'd have got run over.
The furthest Grant can run in this lead pack is 10th place. As you touched on, if he finishes top 10, doesn't matter what any of the other 3 competitors did. He was going to easily wrap up this championship points-wise. But this final pit stop might be the deciding factor as Joe DeSpirito edges ahead to the top position. DeSpirito looking for a little bit of redemption here at the close of the season. We saw him take the checkered flag, I believe it was 3 weeks ago. But he got a post-race penalty, and Craig Hagley, who crossed the line in second, inherited his first career win here in the Tally Challenge. So DeSpirito is still looking for his first official win of season 59, as now he, Seminara, and McClure going to duck down to the bottom. Brian Schilling loses his drafting help. He's got Kelly Causey up there with him, but now he's going to start drifting back as the inside line has the numbers all formed up.
Keeping it going. Here are only 2 trucks, now 3 on the outside lane. Gonna see, hopefully soon, we'll see when these cars start to, oh, here they come right now. Uh-oh, ooh, DeMar.
Oh!
There it is.
Grant!
It's gonna be yellow if they can. I think he saved it. There's no caution.
But Grant Wesley was involved in that along with Richard Martin.
Garrett.
And Grant is coming back around. He's going to have to make his way back around to pit road. That's a lot of time and a lot of positions he'll probably lose out on. And to your point, no caution to save him. So now this puts the ball maybe firmly in the court of the 712 of Bob Seminara, who I think might be coming to pit road, if not this lap, the next lap.
Let's see.
Oh, and Seminara gets hit by Chuck McClure, and he's going to miss pit road.
And still no caution.
Sliding through the grass.
That was, I'm going to say this, that was 100% on the 7. Oh, and he's
712's on the track. He's stuck on the apron, and there's oncoming traffic.
Yep,
Caution's out.
There's the caution.
There is the yellow.
That's what's going to save Grant Wesley and others, and maybe himself.
And Jeremy Jeffries. Wow.
10 laps.
I think most everybody was on pit road already of those that made the indication off turn 4 before the caution came out, so they were able to take service. Seminara is actually going to get it. Oh, he just got hit by Bob Dixon! 712 just got plowed by the 143.
And I don't even know. Bob just ran into the back.
Just ran him over. Well, Seminara led that lap, so he's got a bonus point now. Only one of 2 playoff of the final 4 that now has led a lap. Grant was the other one. Well, there's a lot to unpackage here. Let's start first. Let's go back during those pit road entries. Let's look first at a little bit more in depth what happened with one of our final 4 contenders, Grant Wesley in the 88, which forced him to miss pit road entry. To his credit, he then turned back up the track, did not hit anywhere near the commitment line, so if he'd come to pit road, he would have gotten the 30-second penalty. Richard Martin gets a hit from Ken Roberts. That shoots him up into Grant, and Grant wisely. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised that didn't bring out a caution because the 43 was up above the yellow line, and Grant was right behind him. But Grant then had to come back around after he was completely slowed down there in the tri-oval to make a pit stop, and then the following lap, Chuck McClure in the 17 is going to kind of door bang the right side of Bob Seminara coming onto pit road. Hard to tell there if Chuck McClure even made pit lane. He might have overshot the commitment line, and then as Seminara's car comes to rest, it kind of gets beached up there on the apron. You saw the right rear tire was up in the air.
And then that one car that was coming
Yeah,
around
Bernie
on the
Mobs in the
outside track, yeah,
31.
Bernie Mobs is probably what helped save. So the only caution, I don't even really know what to say or what to think here, Seth. I mean, it looks like Richard Martin's gonna come out with the race lead,
And then
maybe.
here's Dixon. Either Dixon wasn't paying attention or something. I don't know, but he just hit him flush straight in the back bumper. Let's go on board with the 143. I'm pretty sure that the caution came out before Bob Dixon had crossed the line. Yeah, it had. So he should have been slowing after he crossed the start-finish line. And as we take the onboard with the 143, let's listen. All right, so he is decreasing his speed. And I think yep. My NR just crashed, so give us a moment.
Did it really?
It did. But he did decrease his speed. I don't know how he ran into the back of the 712.
Oh, I see. Yep, your car, your.
Just like I told these boys in the
Let's
meeting,
get
we
this
don't
thing
need
back up
anything
and
over the
running
top
here.
today. We got a good race car. We
I was
got a good
watching the
driver, we got
replay,
good
watching the replay. It's like
everybody
your
carries
game
the
was
weight.
just like, nope.
We'll be just fine at the end of this thing.
Apparently, we're not allowed to take onboards.
See you, bud.
All right, so let's figure out all of who is running where. I think we got a bunch of drivers that might be trapped a lap down. I think we're just gonna wait and see who is where, because I think the admins have a lot of figuring out to do. Scoring has Terry Bombard as the race leader, but I think he just hit pit road. So Brian Schilling, I think, might be the new race leader. Yeah, we're going to give it a couple of laps here and try and figure out all of who is where. A couple of things that we can document. Jeff Crivello in the 56 has retired from the race, so he will more than likely finish 29th here this evening. Scoring right now has 16 drivers back to Chuck McClure on the lead lap. Jim Gloud, Richard Martin, according to what the telemetry is currently showing, are the first two trucks one lap down, and now it's looking like maybe Richard Martin and Greg Palmer might have been the free pass trucks. Well, now Palmer's backing off.
Oscar on pit lane. Jeremy Jeffries here. Yeah, there's a lot of cars one lap down.
Yeah, I think Jeffries and Harris are going to be taking wave arounds. This, I think, will put Jeffries back on the lead lap. Harris -1. Again,
Where's
this
the race?
all of this is not confirmed. I'm just going based off what I'm seeing on telemetry.
I don't even know where the race leader is at
I
this
think
point.
it's Schilling. I'm pretty sure it's Schilling. We just got to wait for him to cross the line. Scoring's got him in the second position right now. But I think once they cross the line, he should be the race leader.
More cars coming to pit road. This is just a big mess.
This
do
was...
these drivers have wave rounds, right?
Yes, they do.
So everybody
Well, we ran... What was
everybody
it, 50...
that's going to be in front of the fourth truck should be able to get the wave around.
We ran 55, 56 laps completely under green. And the final cycle of pit stops, with less than 10 to go, has completely turned the season finale on its head. All right, Schilling is the leader, according to Scoring now.
There goes the cars to get the wave around.
Our ticker might not be working, just to let everybody know, because of the fact that the NR crashed. So the scoring may not be correct. Yeah, I don't think the scoring is updating. Nope, it's not. Well, we got one lap to green here. I'm going to real quickly here see if I can restart the ticker for everybody. Keep an eye on it for me, Michael. Let me know when they're getting ready to hit the tri-oval, because it looks like we got about half a lap for me to try and get this thing fixed.
Yeah. Keep an eye on it.
Hopefully this will fix it. If it does not, then an attempt at least was made. All right, let's see if that fixes the ticker potentially.
Just like I told these boys in the meeting, we don't need anything over the top today. We got a good race car, we got a good driver, we
Well,
got a good ticker.
it's pandemonium from what I'm hearing,
Everybody's
Seth.
carried away.
Very big pandemonium, as they are not even sure that this is going to be the correct lineup as we are getting ready to go back under the green flag here. So we have no idea what's going to happen here in these last 6 laps, except for the fact that if another caution comes out, that it will more than likely end the race under yellow.
Well, the good news is the ticker is back working here for these final 6 laps. Green flag back in the air. Brian Schilling out in front. Dave Melson, Donnie Garrett, Ken Roberts, and Bernie Mobbs were the top 5 when they crossed the line. Bob Seminara was 8th. Grant Wesley was 14th, and Jeremy Jeffries, last truck on the lead lap after the wave around, 18th. That's how they lined up here for this 6-lap shootout. Right now, still Grant Wesley's championship with where he scored.
Grant Wesley is pushing the heck out of Kelly Causey on the outside lane. But apparently, apparently after this whole jumbled mess of a caution this was, we've had a lot of things happen that nobody really thought were, something to happen, or the caution about somebody not catching the pace car at the proper time, possibly losing the lead, and there's a lot that they're going to have to review after this race. And Seth, here we go.
Look at the push on the top.
Bob Seminara, even if he wins the race, I don't think it'll matter because he's got the 88, 3 trucks behind him.
Yep. Schilling, even though he's leading right now, he was 28 points back coming into tonight.
Oh no, Schilling's just trophy hunting at this point.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Seminara with that big push. Looks like whatever damage he sustained getting hit from behind by Bob Dixon has not affected that truck's speed. Still good to lead a line. But now, middle lane is where Brian Schilling and Donnie Garrett are going to go. It's point of no return.
So you better give your disclaimer.
Disclaimer as usual, we will stay with the leaders if the caution comes out. All the way back to the start-finish line. We will look at any incidents either during the caution laps or post-race as we are 3 wide for the lead. Here comes Bernie Mobbs in the 31. Big push from JT Mayhew.
This is our disclaimer song.
There's a lot of drivers trophy hunting now, and Seminara's going to dive to the bottom.
I don't know if that was such a good idea.
I'm not sure either, to be honest.
Look, because there he goes. Look, now here comes the 24 going to be out there. That was not a good idea by Bob Seminara. He should have stayed to the outside.
Well, he is going to pick up Bernie Mobbs. But to your point, the momentum is definitely still up there on the top with the 24.
Oh, my God. All it's going to take
is... Schilling!
No.
Oh, up into Grant! Caution! And I believe... Did the leader cross the line, or are we still racing back?
No, they crossed it. They crossed it.
So we're still racing back.
Grant.
Caution is out. That was not taking the caution. We are still at speed racing back around.
No, I think they took it. They're just choosing not to slow down.
Oh, okay. No, now they're slowing.
Down. Yeah. Bob Seminara took the race lead. He took the race lead, and Grant Wesley, depending on where he crosses the line this time,
he slid across the line in 8th. But did he recover is the question. Oh, man. Hang on. Let me count the trucks. So there's Wesley, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
He crossed it
7,
but I really don't think
9.
He was involved in the wreck as well, so he shouldn't be able to get that spot back. I think it's just really going to be wherever he crosses the line this time.
which right now I think would put him either 10th or 11th. I think a couple of the trucks that I just counted are not on the lead lap.
We're going to have to wait and see. He's going to have to stop right here. Stay behind. Stay behind as everyone's got to slow down to wait for this pace truck. I don't know RTG's
It's looking like
rules.
the 8 actually is moving up to where he slid across the line.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out is I don't know what
Dave
RTG's rule
Melson.
is about getting their spots back, even
Yeah.
being involved in the wreck.
The 038 of Melson's moving up here, even though scoring had him crossing the line in...
Donnie Garrett's out of the race.
9th is where they had Donnie Garrett crossing the line. Whew, I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm not an admin having to try to figure this all out. My gracious.
Well, as far as I know, they're still got to look at stuff all the way in the, going back to that previous caution.
Right.
So,
all right, so
Bob's
2 to go. We're going to go back
win.
and at least look at what brought out the caution.
Yeah,
and figure everything out.
Bob's going to win, but I think that Grant's still going to win the championship. He crossed the line in 7th. But I think they're also still trying to figure out who goes where because...
So this happened back in the tri-oval. Brian Schilling was in the middle 3 wide.
I guess they do allow us to get their spots back because, I mean, here comes the 17 back, and he was pretty much flipping.
Kelly Causey up in the air. Chuck McClure, Donnie Garrett, and Brian Schilling all catching air. There's the 88 of Wesley going around some of these trucks down in the grass. Ken Roberts, Chuck McClure. There's Terry Bombard, Robbie Nisus, Donnie Garrett. Yeah, when Grant continued on, he was behind the 38 and ahead of the 22, but as we saw, he got back up and picked up the spot that he was scored in. I'm a little curious. The timing of that yellow, I'd love to know. Let's see here. We're going to play and pause with the pace truck. All right, so there's the caution there, and yep, leader had not yet gotten to the line. Needed about maybe another half a truck length, and they would have still raced it back around for another lap.
These cars aren't even getting single file at this point, so I'm not even sure what's going on.
I'm not sure they know what's going on. They're trying to listen to their spotters as to where they're supposed to be. The timing of that yellow with the wreck taking place as they were sliding across the start-finish line definitely kind of jumbles things up in terms of race communication of who is supposed to be in what position.
To anybody that's in or it's in the chat here watching this on YouTube, if you guys happen to know the rule that's for this about being able to keep your spot if you were involved in a wreck, let us know that, because I am very, very curious about that, because like you said, he crossed the line in 8th, but he was also crossing the line like sideways and spinning and being a major part of that wreck.
Yeah, when he got back up to speed, he was around the 11th position from what I counted.
Yeah, he had to have been around the 11th or 12th despite a couple of the lap cars.
Which here is the thing, though. Even if he had finished this race in 11th, with him leading a lap and Seminara leading a lap, Grant, I think, still would have won the championship. Because Seminara would have had to have finished 12 positions ahead. 11th was the lowest that Grant could finish with Seminara winning.
Jeff Zupta said that you stay where you pass the line.
Okay.
So even though he was spinning and involved in a wreck,
it's still kind of a moot point, because it's still mathematically it would have been by 1 point rather than right now 3 points.
Yeah, so either way, I was just curious on the rule for that one. So
right now, the white flag
for, clearing that up for us.
So the white flag was displayed that last time by Bob Seminara, about to pick up his first win on the season. But he's going to be 3 points, if my math is correct, short of the championship. Bernie Mob's in 2nd and Joe DeSpirito in 3rd, so they'll be the ones that we'll be interviewing post-race as our podium finishers. JT Mayhew and Chuck McClure right now slated to be the completion of the top 5. Then Brian Schilling 6th, Grant Wesley 7th, and Jeremy Jeffries 9th. So of our final 4, all 4 of them who have all had kind of up and down days here, they're all going to finish inside of the top 10. This is going to be a bit of a bittersweet victory for Bob Seminara. He'll get the checkered flag. He'll get the race win trophy, but he's not going to be able to get that championship trophy here tonight. Gave it a heck of a try this evening as coming to the line, checkered flag in the air. And race 15 of season 59 goes to the 712 of Bob Seminara. Grant Wesley crosses the line in 7th. He is your season 59 Tally Challenge champion. His second straight championship, back-to-back championship, and third championship in the last 4 seasons.
And yes, to somebody asking, I believe it did look like the 4. Schilling might have actually caused that wreck.
Yeah, it was hard to tell if he got a bump or if he just got loose, but yeah, he was in that middle line, made the contact.
We knew it was coming. 100% knew it was coming.
Oh yeah, closing stages, 3 wide, about 7, 8 rows deep. Yeah, something had to give. Well, both of the drivers that are going to be doing some burnouts here, carrying some battle scars. Grant Wesley had some contact coming to pit road for what was supposed to be the final pit stop and then was involved in that race-ending caution. Bob Seminara also had contact on the entry to pit road for what was going to be his final pit stop and then got hit under yellow from the lead after taking the next to last caution. And you saw the 24 of Joe DeSpirito up there against the wall doing burnouts as well, finishing in 3rd to Jeremy Jeffries' 9th. Joe DeSpirito gets a championship here tonight, picking up the Bracket Series championship. There's your race winner in the 712, your champion in the 88. And we will be talking with all of our podium finishers and champions here tonight.
Click back in and it's a smoke screen.
It is. You don't need the tires anymore. The season's over. You don't have to save them for next week. Let's take a look at the finishing results here this evening. You are going to see the scoring slightly off, I think, on a couple of these drivers due to the fact that on our end the sim did go down, but should have it pretty much correct for the most part. Seminara with the win, Bernie Mobbs in 2nd, and Joe DeSpirito in 3rd. How about the Florida gang sweeping the podium here tonight? JT Mayhew brings it home in that 4th position after he made the playoffs for the first time in his career here in the Talladega Challenge. Chuck McClure, solid top 5 to end out the year for him. Brian Schilling in 6th. Grant Wesley, 7th to wrap up the championship. Dave Melson, Jeremy Jeffries, and Kelly Causey going to complete the top 10. Both Jeffries and Causey were a lap down at one point in this race, and they utilized the lucky dogs and waiver rounds late to be able to get back in the lead lap and salvaged a pretty good finish. Ken Roberts going to get 11th. Rodney Sullins in 12th. Richard Martin 13th. Cy Jones, Mark Paglia complete the top 15, and Terry Bombard was the last truck to finish on the lead lap in 16th place. Palmer, Surratt, Hagelin, and Nofsker complete the top 20. We had 26 drivers finish the race. You see down there to Jeff Crivello, the 2 drivers that are missing from the finishing results here that you do not see would be Mike Rogers in 30th, and who we got scored in 29th? I'm trying to remember who it was.
Say that again?
Who do you have finishing 29th?
Oh, yes.
Did you exit out already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we saw it on the ticker earlier on tonight. I can't remember who it was though. But 4 drivers finished out of the race. Donnie Garrett, the most recent of those involved in that race-ending caution. Well, as I said, we're going to be talking with not only our podium finishers, but our champions here tonight as well. And let's get down to it into our FRN post-race wind down. Let's see if we can dial up the guy that brings it home third place here tonight, Michael, the bracket challenge champion as well, Joe DeSpirito.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey Joe, it's Michael and Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got a copy?
Hey guys, I got you. How are you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm certain that it was kind of a mind-bending last 10 laps for you guys down there on the track. We were trying to figure it all up here in the booth as well, but a wild finish to this season finale. You guys were motoring up in that third lane in the closing stages, battling there 3 wide for the race lead before that race-ending caution. How wild was it down there in the cockpit of this number 24?
Oh, it was nuts, man. I was so nervous that we made a move last second to go third lane, Bob and I, and we were motoring. We did not let off the gas, and he got clear, and he went down, which is the move that you should make in that situation. And it worked out for him. He made the right move. I'm happy with third. I'm happy I won the bracket series too. You know, I didn't have a good season with the points, but I ended up taking the bracket, which is fun.
Yeah, it was going out. It was heading towards, if I can speak correctly, what seemed to be a green flag full out race, a caution free race there until the very end. Did you think, even with the bracket challenge on the line there, did you think did you have the right strategy in mind there until that last caution came out?
Yeah, I honestly wasn't even trying to think about the bracket. I was just, thinking about where my friends were and, helping my boys out. Florida Gang finished 1, 2, 3, Mobs Motors, which is nice. That's kind of what I was thinking about. And I was just hoping it would end up in front of Jeremy. Whenever I seem to race head to head and pay attention to where somebody is at all times, I usually end up losing. So for me to just race and finish with the best possible position, that seems to be the way it worked out for me. I can't focus on other people all the time.
Well, you get that bracket series championship here tonight. As we mentioned, you had to beat Jeremy Jeffries in back-to-back weeks to be able to get this bracket series championship here in season 59. Obviously, maybe a little too early to start speculating towards next year, but I am a little bit curious. You bring it home with a podium finish here tonight. Does ending out a season on a high note do anything for momentum going into a new season?
Yeah, it does. Trying to find any of the good things about missing the playoffs this year. I kind of felt like the weight was off my shoulders in these last 6, 7 races here. I was just kind of racing loose, and I wasn't tensed up like I normally am racing for points. And I think I might have needed that going into next year. It just was just a breath of fresh air, just like a reset button for me. Um, so, like I said, great win in the bracket too. But yeah, going in next year, season 60, with a good mindset, nice and ready to go.
Well, Joe, congratulations on the Bracket Series championship here tonight. A nice podium finish to cap off the 59th season. As I said, some good momentum heading into next season of the Tally Challenge. Before we let you go, the floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Appreciate it, guys. I want to thank you guys at FRN. I want to thank RTG. I thank Mobs Motors. I thank my sponsors, Old City Fly Shop, Able Reels. I thank my guys watching, my dad watching, Uncle T watching, LC, Dan, and everybody at work. Yeah, it was good season, man. Good tight racing. I want to congratulate whoever won the championship there. I'm not sure how the points panned out, but it was tight at the end there, and it was a great final race. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Joe DeSpirito, third place this evening in the finale at Talladega for season 59 of the Tally Challenge. Congratulations once again on a good high note finish here to cap off the year.
Thanks. Good night, guys.
User was moved out
All
of
right,
your
how about we
channel.
dial up the highest finishing Dodge tonight? Second place for Bernie Mobs.
User was moved
Hey,
to your
Bernie, Michael
channel.
and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yep, sure do. Loud and clear.
Well, you had a very consistent season, made it into the playoffs. You finish out the year 6th in overall points, but first top 5 on the season comes here tonight in this season finale. Saw you working up there with the Florida gang. You bring it home in that second position, but a lot of mayhem going on around you there in those closing stages. Not only under green flag, but after that caution came out with everybody trying to figure out where they were.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy, but that's racing at Talladega. It's always fun.
Yeah, man, take us through those last 10 laps, man. Between when the first caution came out in the middle of pit stops, the race ending caution right there, it just seemed really, really, really chaotic out there.
Yeah, I pitted a little early on for that last one, so I missed a lot of the chaos on pit road. But put me in a good position at the end, and then it was just chaos, like you said. Always is the end of these races, and this was a really important race. So a lot of fun.
We ended up having those first, I believe it was 55, 56 laps completely under green. You guys underwent 2 rounds of green flag pit stops. Is it easier to race in a race like that and just concentrate on the execution on pit road, or do you like having maybe those cautions here and there and not have to necessarily take pit road at race speed?
I think it's a little both ways. I think sometimes these races they get into that single file thing, and it's sort of boring because you really can't go anywhere. So we get the cautions, we get more 2 wide, 3 wide stuff, and I think it's more fun. It is hairy, but it's fun.
Well, we definitely saw the 3 wide in the closing stages of this race. You were right up there in the thick of it. You bring it home in the second position, your best finish of the season. Good way to cap off the year for you in a playoff season. Congratulations on a job well done on that. And before we let you go, we'll give you the opportunity to thank some sponsors and do some shout outs.
Okay, thanks. It was a good time. Shout out goes to your guys at FRN. You guys do a great job. Watch it every week. Enjoy it. And everybody, everything to RTG. They're putting on these events as well. Good guys, good racing. Can't wait till the next season. And of course, got to thank the Florida boys. We're always in a pretty good group there.
Bernie
Thanks for
Mobbs.
everything, guys. Have a good evening.
Absolutely. That's Bernie Mobbs. He brings it home second place here tonight
User
in the
was
season
moved out of
finale
your
at
channel.
Talladega. All right, let's go down to victory lane, see if we can dial up tonight's race winner, Bob Seminara.
User was moved
Hey,
to
Bob,
your
Michael and
channel.
Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Well, I can only imagine the range of emotions going on right now for you down there in victory lane. Obviously, the elation for winning the championship, but the race win, I should say, but just short of winning the championship here tonight. Obviously, you did what you had to do. You got up there to the front. You stayed at the front in the closing stages. There's nowhere higher to go than P1. You just needed that 88 to run into a little bit more trouble, lose a couple of more spots. So, obviously, got to be excited for this win, but what was the feeling when you crossed the line?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to win. I haven't won in a while, but I've been running pretty good. Yeah, I'm not too happy about it, but yeah, I needed Grant to have some trouble. A couple 100 yards there could have went the other way. But yeah, we did everything we needed to do. I mean, I got banged around there that last caution or so and had damage, and so to recover and get up front and get the win. And I got Bernie and Joe right behind me there, the Mobs Motor. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of fun out there, especially at the very end. Take us through your point of view of those last 10 laps.
Yeah, Michael, it was, well, looking at the guys that I had in front of me there, I was thinking about going third lane, and one or two of those guys usually blocked the third lane, so I didn't know if that was going to be an option. But we had a clean run up there, good pushing from Joe, and I'm not sure who else was up there. I think Kelly Causey was up there and Grant. But, yeah, we had a big run on the outside, and it was just like holding on, I was trying to clear the lane so I get to the bottom, and just did it in time. And just a split second there, however that caution comes out, where the finishing order is. But it was crazy to get in that position.
Yeah, we went back, we freeze framed it, and yeah, half a truck length just behind the start finish line when that caution came out for you guys to receive the caution, you'd be able to pick up this victory. This race, and I know it's a super speedway, so we should be prepared for this, but it kind of completely took a 180. It was looking like in the first half of the race, pretty straightforward between you and the other three Final Four competitors, just the execution onto pit road, maintaining track position and whatnot. And then we end up seeing Jeremy get hit with a 30-second penalty on pit road. Both yourself and Grant Wesley in back-to-back laps contact as you're trying to make it onto pit road. We saw you then get further contact under caution. Brian Schilling involved in that last yellow flag through the tri-oval. I mean, it was almost like it was looking like a straightforward race for you Final Four. And then all of a sudden it was kind of a survival of the fittest in maybe the last 10, 15 laps.
Yeah, and that's what happens. All hell breaks loose. You think it's going to be single file, we're counting down the laps and when the pit stop's going to be, if maybe we'll short pit, see how many guys we got to do that. And then, it just kind of got wild and, and then, I got hit and then I got hit again. So I thought it was all over there. But, we recovered from that and the last couple laps were fun.
Definitely recovered, pick up your first win of the season to cap off a great year. Obviously, didn't win the championship, but got to be some good momentum going into season 60. Congratulations on the job well done here tonight. Before we let you go, the floor is yours for Victory Lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yeah, all right. Thanks to Michael, FRN, all you do. Appreciate it. And Donnie, Ultimate Garage Floors for sponsoring that. And RTG, Sean and David and Josh and all the admins that get this going. Congrats to Grant on another championship. We got the same amount now. Joe on the bracket and Mob's Motor 1, 2, 3. That's great for us. Shout out to Q back at the job and all the other boys where I retired from and LC. And we'll be back 60 and we'll be ready to go.
Bob Seminara caps off season 59 with the last checkered flag here tonight at Talladega in the Tally Challenge. Congratulations on a great season, and looking forward to seeing you go back to work when we begin the 60th season.
Can't wait. See you guys in a few.
User was moved out of your channel.
And the official word, based off the scoring, 2 points was the separation of Bob Seminara to this man who gets his second straight championship, third championship in 4 seasons. Let's dial up the season 59 Tally Challenge champion, Grant Wesley.
User was moved to your
Hey, Grant,
channel.
Michael, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. Got a copy?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I got you.
All right,
Oh
so
my God.
we talked with you last night. We talked with you last week after you picked up that victory at BSR. You said, I'm going to be on defense. It was looking like the plan was working out until we got to about the final 10 laps, and then everything starts kind of unraveling. Did panic start setting in at any point there?
Yes, absolute solid 10 on the panic button. And that happened.
Especially that pit stop.
Oh, yeah, that's where it started. That last pit stop, I think I had projected 3 laps. I thought more people were going to pit in the first group. Generally, that first group kind of gets to run and kind of gets out in front of the second group, late in the race. So, I thought I'd try to shortcut a few guys and pit with the first group. And there's only 4 of us going. I was already like, this sucks. And then DMAR and I think that might have been Ken, they got together and DMAR came up. I'd seen it happening. Like, I was like, gosh, dang it. And I just started locking the brakes up and DMAR came up in front of me. And of course, I couldn't make my pit road entry. And at that point, that's when the panic set in. Because I knew I was in trouble at that point if a caution didn't come out. And then coming around, I was coming down the pit, and then the caution comes out before I make the commitment line. And I was in panic mode, and I tried to cut it back out on the track, but it went out through the grass. And so anyway, I had the EOLL. I didn't take service. Ended up coming down pit road and getting service under caution and had to restart behind pretty much everybody. On the restart, I seen Bob Seminara was like 8th and I was 14th. There was a lot of cars a lap down, so that really kind of saved me there. So anyway, I got that third lane rolling. I had some good guys up there helping me. And then Joe and Bob did exactly what they should have done. They seen the line coming. They knew I was in it. Um, they moved up in front of us, and all they had to do is let us push them to the front. Which they did. And Bob dropped down, and then all that had to happen was that line die off. And if Bob could have won the race, he probably could have got the championship that way. So we were fighting tooth and nail. And then ultimately, the wreck happened. I'm not exactly sure what all went down there. But we got caught up in it and slammed in the wall. And luckily, just the caution just fell at the right time. I mean, we're talking like inches, and that was the difference right there. And I ended up 7th. So I think that was just barely enough to get this thing.
Yeah, it was going crazy there. We figured something was going to happen, and the panic button there was going to be when you tried to come down pit road. And I'm not sure. Well, did you got sideswiped? I believe, right? Like you were trying to come in, and somebody like overshot it beneath you, caused you to miss it as well. But it was crazy. Was it all over? Had that caution not come out?
So that second group, I think there was 10 cars in the lead pack at that time. I think Bob would have had to win. Definitely win, or maybe a top two, second to tie, maybe win to win the championship. Even, if I was able to stay in front of that second pack somehow, but that was going to be very tough with I think it was 6 or 7 laps to go, maybe.
This is the second time that RTG, the Tally Challenge, has used the dual season finale, if you will, the 6 playoff races. And in both seasons, you've won the championship. As a matter of fact, going into season 56, you had a 0 in the championships column. Ending out season 59, you now have 3. You have been on a tear in these last 4 seasons. I mean, where did this come from? How did you hit this streak?
Yeah, we've always been strong here on Thursdays. Super speedways has kind of been my bread and butter a little bit. That single race one and you're done deal. It's just the smallest of things can just take you right out of it. I know there was a lot of those races where we ran real strong and just came up just a little short. Points racing has always been my thing. I always run really well in the regular season, and having 2 races in this format really helps my style a lot. But yeah, I mean, this is, going back to last week, this is why it was important to have a strong run in week 1 because of, things like this.
Well, Grant, congratulations on the job well done here tonight. I know your strategy had to kind of call a little bit of an audible in the closing stages, but you were able to finish high enough to keep all the hungry wolves at bay. 2 points is what they're officially saying. The championship was won by. Second straight championship for you, 3rd championship in the last 4 seasons. Well done. Before we let you go and continue your celebration, the floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Yeah, that's man, that's freaking awesome. To get the 2nd championship in a row in 3 and 4 seasons. It's just, I got to pinch myself. It's really hard to believe, but I'm just gonna ride this wave while it's here and just try to keep it rolling. I want to congratulate Bob Seminara, not only for the win, but for being such a strong competitor in this chase. He made it really tough for me. He almost got it there. Came up just a little short. I know that stings a little bit. I've definitely been there. So, but yeah, congratulations to him on the win and my other chase competitors, Jeremy and Brian Schilling. They had a rough go. There is going to be another season, and they'll get another chance at it. I want to thank the owners here, David Cannon and Sean Prime. Thank you, FRN, for doing an awesome job broadcasting. You guys have been doing this broadcasting the whole season here for I don't know, you probably 10 or 11 seasons, and it's awesome. It really is pretty cool. So I appreciate you guys taking your time out to do that. I'd like to thank my just everyone that's helped me, my teammates with XFM, my friends and family for watching, and my girlfriend Brittany.
Well, this guy went all out tonight. He posted a picture in the Facebook group. He was repping the Menard shirts, and I think the shirt's got to get a little bit of love here tonight as well, Grant. But, man, congratulations on the championship here tonight. There's no doubt about it. Heading into season 60, going to be keeping our eyes on this 88 truck.
Yes, sir. That's my lucky shirt now. I'm wearing it right now, and we'll wear it next season.
Grant Wesley, the season 59 Tally Challenge champion, here capping it off with an 7th place finish. at Talladega. Congratulations once again. Go and enjoy that championship.
Hey, thanks, guys.
User was moved out of your
Well,
channel.
last season, as I mentioned, it was the first time that the 6 playoff races, 2-race finale final round was implemented. Grant Wesley was one of the 2 winners in that final round. Josh Metallic was the other, not in the final 4. But Michael, you know the old saying, the cream rises to the top? Well, 2 of our final 4 won the final 2 races here in this final round. Grant Wesley last week and Bob Seminara here tonight. But even with the 2-race final round, last year, the championship was decided by 1 point. This year, championship decided by 2 points. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-race season finale or the 2-race season finale. These things are nail biters.
Yes, they are, and that's what makes them exciting. To wait a minute, the cream rises to the top.
Yes.
The more you know.
It's another old person saying that I've hit you with. Congratulations.
But yes, in all seriousness, it really doesn't matter what type of format. These guys are going to make it exciting, and it's always fun to watch these guys battle it out for the championship. And can't wait for next season.
We've ended up having some very interesting, I wouldn't say Cinderella stories, but certainly some feel-good moments, I guess we could say, during the course of this season. We saw Jeremy Jeffries on his tear of 3 straight victories when we went to Burt Screwdriver's Raceway. Kelly Causey, multi-win season for the first time in his career. Greg Palmer and Craig Hagley picked up their first career wins in the series. It seems like every time we cap off a season here in the RTG Tally Challenge, in looking ahead to the following season, there's a lot of storylines that we have to follow up on, and some interesting scenarios that could play out.
Absolutely. And, can't wait to watch it all happen.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations once again to Grant Wesley, picking up the championship here in Season 59. Bob Seminara picks up the final checkered flag of the season, and Joe DeSpirito gets the championship for the Bracket Challenge. We appreciate everybody joining us here, not only tonight, but during the course of this season. We hope you guys have enjoyed our coverage of the 59th season of the RTG Talladega Challenge. We'll be back to cover the 60th season. That's going to be starting, I believe, in the next couple weeks or so. And I'll be right back here Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on FRN. Michael, unbelievable way to cap off the season. Typical Super Speedway fashion, keeping us guessing in those final 10 laps, but I appreciate you joining me up in the booth for it.
Absolutely. It's always fun, and can't wait to continue doing it.
Absolutely. Well, we draw to a close in the 59th season of the Tally Challenge. Looking forward to season 60. For Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night, folks. We appreciate you joining us. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.